Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Quiet Work podcast. This is episode number 50. I am very excited about that. And now we're going to talk about making America beautiful one home at a time and why some people believe that gardens are a form of art. I'm bringing in an expert when it comes to landscaping. Lyle, please introduce yourself and the company you represent, and we'll start with that.
Hi, well, my name's Lyle Lavietes. I am the president and founder of Lyle Lavietes Landscape Contractor Incorporated. We have been in business now for almost 49 years. I started
Wow.
very, very young. And the reason I started very young is I found out very young in life I couldn't work for somebody else. And so I started slowly building a clientele of little old ladies south of the boulevard, and I do their handyman services, and one thing led to another. But my father was a gardener, and I really learned the trades from him. So slowly but surely, I morphed him from just doing handyman's things to keep me busy to start doing some landscaping. And I met some developers that I worked for. And then the real big break is when I met a couple of landscape architects who really broke me into the business and took me under their wing and taught me the right way to do things. So I come from the world of landscape architecture in that respect. And I always try to tell people, really, I'm an artist, except my mediums are dirt and brick and concrete and trees and stuff like that. I create environments. I can create any kind of vacation, a permanent vacation. So it's actually a better investment. You come home every night to your tropical paradise, your desert hideaway, whatever it is you like, we can do that. And stuff as simple as, just simple things, but we really like to do the art end of it. The people that really love their gardens are the kind of people that we do best with.
I love that. 5 decades. That's incredible. And one story came immediately to mind. It's coming from Seth Godin, who is famous marketer, has been around for also many, many decades before digital marketing and advertising. And he was he was talking about a painting on a wall, right? If your goal is to have a painting on the wall, your first goal is to have a hole that you have to drill to put a painting on. But your goal is not really that hole. It's the art that you want to hang on the wall. But then when you think deeper, it's not really the art, the painting that you want to hang on the wall, but actually the feeling, the emotions that it evokes when you wake up, you go downstairs, grab your coffee, and look at that painting wherever that is in your house, and the emotions that it evokes. And what you just said with gardening being an art, is exactly it. Because every time you get home and you see your beautiful garden, I know it firsthand. My mom spends every single minute that of her free time doing something in the garden, even though it's already perfect to me. But the emotions, the positive emotions it brings to her life, and us seeing that joy, and obviously the beautiful landscape, is just something else. So I truly agree with what you said about gardens is an expression of art, and you being an artist, because I can imagine the
True.
smile it brings to your customers when the job is done.
Yes. Well, it's initially, it looks like a gigantic war zone, and we slowly kind of clean it up. But I tell people all the time, I do this for fun as a hobby if I didn't do it for a living. So I really do enjoy doing it. I still work in my own gardens. I'm still grow a lot of tomatoes and vegetables and stuff. As it turns out, I fell into the right profession. I'm organized, and part of being a proper landscape contractor is being organized, like any business. But I get a lot of satisfaction. My favorite time is, even though I don't work on the crews any longer, thank goodness, my favorite time is to be the first one to hose down the job for the first time, because that's the first time it looks complete. And I usually reserve that for me. I know sometimes my guys are a little bit, well, let us do it, which is fine. But it's very satisfying. Of course, it's nothing like the very first day. And other things that are important too. I mean, it's art, but it's also living art. So you have to make sure you take care of it like a nice, fresh baby, and it needs some help along the way. I mean, there's just lots of technique and experience that are required to keep not only the beautiful landscape, but to keep it looking good over time and knowing what to do with it over time. Anybody can throw water out there. A lot of very, very hardworking people out there that really don't know what they're doing. And you just slap it in, which is fine. Anybody can make it look good right away. If it doesn't look good in 6 months, you're redoing it every once in a while. There is no value in that. Plus, you're never going to forget how much money you spent not to get what you wanted. So it travels down the line. For the longest time in my business, I was a guy that came in second to fix everybody's problems, and I have a reputation for that, which is fine. But now I'm usually now the first guy that comes in. So these people, they don't want to mess mess around. They want to get it done right the first time. And that's what we offer. And I offer full service. I do the design work, I do the consultation, I do all the hardscape with my masonry crew. And that's everything from concrete, brick, block, stone. I do outside kitchens and gathering areas for people. I have one client that has 150 people every weekend to his house.
Wow.
We built a cook center. He could probably entertain 300 people on it. Two ovens, soda machines, all kinds of stuff like that. And then I have the people that, if I have 2 people for Thanksgiving, that's too many. So we cover all the gambits, but we make their properties fit what they're doing. That's what the design thing is, and of course the construction. And it's better to have one person do it. In my mind, there's only one finger to point. You're not pointing the fingers at other subcontractors or trying to lay blame on somebody because unfortunately, con and contractor go together, and we're fighting that all the time. So we try to obviously that's our reputation is we just get the job done correctly. And we know what it is. I've been at it now for 50 years, so I know where all the bodies are buried, so to speak, and how to bring stuff back.
I can only imagine, yes. I'd be curious to hear what has changed over the last 5 decades, but I wanted to
Oh,
first find out, before we get to that. So do you work mainly on the design? So if someone wants to redesign their landscaping, or if they're building a new home, obviously landscape architecture is a major part of it. Actually, if I'm understanding correctly, you have to have approved plans with the landscaping design already before when you submit the plans to the city. At least that's what it is here, Rancho Mirage area.
right.
Or do you work also with commercial
Well,
landscaping? Uh,
I'm not an official landscape architect, but I'm a landscape contractor designer. I can do all that work, and if it requires a landscape architect's stamp, which some cities do, it depends. I do mostly custom residential, so I don't
mhm.
have to worry about approved from the city plans. If I do, it's usually construction details for some sort of a specific item that I'm building for them, be it a pool or some sort of retaining wall or some sort of retaining system. Sometimes requires that. And of course, we have to follow along with the laws. But I don't do a lot of commercial work unless, of course, it's for maybe one of my clients who owns commercial property. That's just not my niche. So far, so good. And as far as submitting plans as a designer, you're allowed to make designs. You just cannot put them out to bid to the general public. You
Mm,
can put it out to bid for yourself or give it to your client they can put it out to bid if they want. Technically that's what it is. And generally when I'm already doing the design work, I'm very rarely bid against because I'm already doing the design work. But that's it. It's a one-stop shop. I do the design work, we do the construction, we do all the planting. I'm a certified water manager in California, which
wow.
is just a fancy way of telling you I know how to put in a good sprinkling system. And it really helps because, that drought, we had those 2 droughts we had where everybody had to let their landscaping die. We saved 2% of the water supply. If you had fixed your sprinklers and fixed some of the leaks, we would have saved more than that 2% and no one would have had to let their landscape die. But nobody thinks about that or really follows through on the real reasons behind things. It's just usually a knee-jerk reaction. Turn off your sprinklers and, it's okay for business people. I'm out there replacing all this stuff, but it's unnecessary, the things that happen. Um, I also the outside lighting, and when we're all done, I have a crew of gardeners and we do detailed garden maintenance. We're not mow, blow, and go. Although those are very hardworking guys. Real gardening and janitorial gardening are different games, and it does require a lot more to it. And that's what we help to specialize. That's what I say. There's only one finger to point. I take them from the beginning to the end, and then we're long-term clients. I have clients that I've had for 30 years on my maintenance account, and we go back twice a year and do things. Have a nice relationship. They're almost like family. It's a
Absolutely.
nice deal.
That was one of my questions. What is your longest client lifetime?
I just lost my longest one because they sold their house and moved into a place that didn't need gardening. It was 35 years.
30
And,
year.
yeah, that was a good long term, and I got him by accident, but it's usually, you never know where you're gonna end up in life. And, I'll tell you one of my favorite stories, and it's just people that by the way, that we're connected, and it's a very small world sometimes. So I get a phone call one day from a lady. She says, "Hi, Lyle, I saw your name on a truck. I just know you're the right guy. Come on over. I have a check waiting for you."
Wow.
Now, I've never had that happen. So I call up the lady, very nice lady, Lynn. I go, "Lynn, thank you for your support, but why don't we get to know each other a little bit first before you start handing me money?" And we go over, and I've done a lot of work for these folks over the years. They're world famous artists. and
Uh,
one was a sculptor. And it's funny, he's got maybe 6 books of all these things he's done. And I said, "Oh, yeah, I have another client." This is the 35-year-old client. And she's a museum curator, blah, blah, blah. And he says, "Oh, is her name so Shan, blah, blah, blah?" I went, "Yeah, how did you know?" He says, "Well, she was my graduate student and she wrote the forward for my bibliography and all this and that." That's a very small world. How these people were even opposite sides of the city, that they were, connected that way. So yeah, it's a very interesting how it can be such a 2 degrees of separation,
uh,
and, so I guess by God's gift, I'm traveling in the same circles with all these other people, and so far so good. 49 years, and I'm still here.
Incredible. An artist
Yeah.
recognizes an artist. So a really interesting story. So what you don't talk often, or I don't talk often to people that been in business for 5 decades, nearly 5 decades. So what have you observed? What has changed in your industry over those years as you look back?
Well, technology for sure, because we have all these instruments. I use a leveling thing that can you can put it in one spot and travel some random spot in the yard, and it will know exactly the difference in height. You don't have to have a line of sight, computerized irrigation clocks that are handled by the satellite technology. I was in a networking group, and I'd say, there's so many different trades that are involved in landscaping. We have computer technology, we're biologists, we're botanists, we're scientists, we're soils engineers, we're structural engineers, we're psychologists and salesmen. Got to manage the company. I got to manage all these kinds of things and all the technology. We use radar technology. Golf courses. A green on a golf course nowadays, just one is about $100,000 to build. So you start digging into that thing, it's expensive. So they use radar technology to see where the drain lines are at, what kind of problems are in there. There's all kinds of advances. Obviously, with regular, as with society, we have computers that are doing a lot of things. We have, and eventually, I think robotics is going to help. Is going to I don't know how it's going to dovetail or take over, like lawn mowing. We already have satellite systems where you can program your electric lawnmower to mow your lawn, and no one has to be there. I think slowly but surely that may take over, but you still need to have your hands in the soil and your eye on it to really see the condition of what's necessary. It's a very abstract technology to kind of understand soils and water and what it all kind of takes. It's not an exact science, and you have to have a little bit of critical thinking and kind of an abstract way of putting things together to get it right, even though it can be that way. So there's also the technology of bidding. Nowadays I can get plot plans from satellites, and we have subscription CAD programs where we can do things. I still draw by hand because I just don't have time to learn all that stuff, honestly. And it'd be
Wow.
nice to have it, but I guess I'm an old timer, huh? I just don't have the time to learn how to do that because I've been very effective as it is so far. So,
Yeah.
but it's still circles and arrows. I mean, some of the stuff is very nice. The video programs I've seen are are really excellent. They show the flybys and whatnot. But there's a caveat to that. It's a beautiful presentation. And a lot of people, there's a lot of contractors that are paper pushers and they're great at putting on a great presentation. But when they have to deliver the goods, there's where the rubber meets the road. So I
Mm,
had exactly that same problem. I remember the guy, a client who was having a hard time with his contractor. The guy took on like 10 pools in his neighborhood, and that was probably 9 pools too many. He couldn't get anything accomplished, but he showed me the video. He says, "This is why I bought him." It was a first-class video of a flyover. Every element in his yard was all highlighted. It was a beautiful presentation. I would have bought it, but the guy can't produce what he has tried to sell. So, yes, putting your best foot forward is great, having, beautiful logos and lots of advertising, but the bottom line is, the clients that are willing to say, "Lyle's your guy." And you go to see the job sites in person, you see how much different they are compared to a lot of things. So,
yes. And you mentioned
those are the kind of things that I think that have gone again, of course, the internet makes it that much easier to market. I have my presence in a lot. I used to be just word of mouth, and I used to be in a lot of networking groups, but the internet marketing has far outstripped it. And I get just as good clients, just as warm people, like, because my exposure is that much greater to that many more people. So I think the odds just work out better that way. I still have referral work, but the digital advertising really is paying off.
100%. I can only imagine people, first of all, you're in the line of business that makes it even easier. And the reason being is that, first of all, people Google good landscapers, and if
Right.
you build a reputation online as of online that matches your offline reputation,
Yes.
I'm sure you do. It's really hard to fake, impossible to fake. And then on top
Yes.
of that, there's a second reason is that you create art, and art, it's still possible to, especially that kind of art, it's really possible to expose online and present online with, and you get most of the time here where we live or where you live, you get good lighting, so you take a nice picture or a video, you can post it online, and a lot of
Oh,
people
sure.
can imagine that. But you mentioned also technology. Last time we traveled back to Europe, my wife and I were both from Poland. And last time we were there, we were shocked by how many advertisements there are for the lawn mowers.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
all over the place. All of our friends, family members, cousins, and relatives have bought one. So it's becoming very popular. But in general, we're the type of people that we like to take care of everything ourselves. I know my sister in Poland spends all of her summers outside doing something in the garden. Winter time, obviously, it's a lot slower because it's covered by that beautiful white powder most of the days. Yes, I know that they're becoming technologies is growing, but it still requires an artist to put it all together. I
Yes.
would
Yes.
an artist will never be replaced, and I think that's a good thing in my opinion. I wanted to ask you not personal, but to your personal for me, I guess, based on my curiosity, a naive question I wanted to say, and please don't mind me. How does an landscape artist decide which plants to plant for each home? There's millions and trillions of different plants everywhere. Wherever I travel, we see all kinds of different plants. Obviously, they're all made for a region, I guess, or they can grow better in one region than another. But how do you decide for your clients? How do you consult your clients on what to put here versus what to put there?
Well, I mean, every plant has its environment where it thrives, and that's what we try to do. The initial thing I do with the clients, I walk them to a nursery just to get their taste in plants to see what they like. Because there's a lot. I mean, some people can't stand red, some people like all different colors. So that's a part of the discovery process that I use when I'm doing a design. Secondly, every designer has their own style. You'll notice, I mean, when I worked with this one landscape architect, I can recognize his work anywhere I saw it because he used the same kind of plants and the same kind of layout. And guarantee every time I'd ask the client, did so and so do this job? He goes, oh, yeah, he was the architect. So that's not bad, but you can't fall into a rut. There's no question about that. However, and there's always new things to be done as far as the client's tastes and things. They may ask for something. They ask for some outlandish things, and it's my job as as the contractor and designer to advise people what to expect and also give them my opinion. But I'll tell them, look, I'll give you the 30 reasons why you shouldn't put the pink flamingo in your front yard. But it's your house. If I'm not breaking any laws and I'm not hurting anybody's feelings, I will run right out there and hammer that thing in the ground for you. I won't tell anybody that I did it, but it's your decision. But you'll know why you should or you shouldn't do something, obviously, because you're going to be living here a lot longer than we're going to be here. And I may object to it. I may tell you why you shouldn't do it, but I've had people do exactly the opposite of what I require. That's fine. It's their home. But most of the time they do follow my suggestions. I'm very fortunate. I've always had a good design eye. But what has to be put together with that as well is how the plants perform in the various environments because homes present a very different environment depending on what side of the house is. I mean, some of the plants have to live in shade in the morning and burning hot sun in the afternoon. You have to know that going in, whether that plant will be able to survive. There are plants that can do that. And then after you find that parameter, then you pull out plants you think are going to look right. And that's where my obligation is. I'm the one that comes up with the planting scheme. If everybody is going to hire me as a designer, I'm the one that's going to come up with the concept. And so, like I said, I've been very fortunate. Always been very good at laying things out, layering them properly. And on top of everything else, because we've been at this for so long and seen what has worked and what has not worked, we also lend a practical application to the work too. So that's just as important as creative. Because most people, I would say 95% of people, clean and green is enough. Cut the lawn square, hedges are square, no leaves on the ground, and they are happy. They're just happy. Then the 5% or 3%, those are my kind of clients, where every blade of grass has to be, it better not be out of place or else, you know. So
Mm.
those are the kind of clients that we work with. But like I tell them, if you wanted a yes man, that's not the guy I am. You wanted to hire someone who has the talent to give you a service. You need to let me do my job. Now, I don't mind working with people who have knowledge and experience with that, and usually the job works out nicer. Several times, I've had a client get on the tractor with my guys as he wanted to work with them because he just likes working in the garden, and the guys loved it. That dare happens very infrequently, but it does happen occasionally. But these people are into their yards, and that shows their commitment. And we get to do nicer things too. We get to build that nice bridge to nowhere, or have that huge rock formation, or do a giant fake waterfall into a pool somewhere. Those are the kind of things that we do. We really do some very, very nice things like that. But I think it's an innate ability to be able to put things together. I'm sure you, in your life, you've met people that have a hard time putting one foot in front of the other. They aren't the kind of people you're going to require that are going to be able to have that kind of a creative outpouring of things. They're going to be good for answering the phone and doing the rudimentary things. And we need people like that. Don't get me wrong. But I fall into a spot where it just works out really well for me, my ability to do that. I would say all designers are that way. And you'll see them too, depending on how independent they are. And some architects are extremely independent, and that causes a problem. They will scream and yell, and they will fight you to the ground if you don't do what they want you to do. Whether it's right or wrong, it has to be their way or the highway. Yes and no, but like I said, it's your home. You're going to be here a lot longer than I'm going to be here. So let's do it the way you want it to be, but let's do it right. Like I said, most times they will defer to my better judgment.
Yes, I
Does
can.
that kinda lend an explanation to how I kinda go about it?
It,
I mean, I can't tell you because the light comes on over my head, I go, "That'll look great," based upon what I've already used.
now, I mean, if you've been doing this for 50 years, I would trust you with anything you would suggest. And
Thank you.
I can definitely understand the climate challenges where we live here in Palm Desert. When the summer comes, it burns
No,
through a lot of plants
it
around.
yeah, it's brutal up there.
August
Yeah,
is very, very hot, 115 to 120 degrees
no,
every
you know,
single
we've, done some work out there, and we start at 5 in the morning, we quit about 9, we go back to work about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, there's just no other way to do it.
day.
And you're right, and I have a dear friend who, supplied flowers, Palm Springs and Las Vegas. He'd send out 2, 3 trucks a day because all they do is they just throw away the bad ones and put in brand new till they look bad, and that's all you think you can really do. And that's what all these major resorts are doing. You see all these beautiful flowers in the summertime, they've probably only been there for 2 or 3 days, and
Yes.
then they die and they replace them. Some stuff can survive, but they more especially the casinos in Las Vegas, they're more interested in keeping that place beautiful to bring in the gamblers. They spend a lot of money on their landscaping, even interior landscaping, if you've been to some of the casinos. And it's
Yeah,
very interesting stuff.
that's actually true. Yes. I mean, it's always a wow experience when you enter especially Wynn comes to mind. Wynn has this
No.
beautiful garden when you inside when you
Oh,
enter.
yeah.
It's
Which one is that? The one with the water show? What's the name of that? Which hotel is
Bellagio.
that? The Bellagio. Yeah, that flower room is pretty impressive, and they change it about every month. I think they put a brand new display of something in there. It is stunning the amount of flowers they bring in there. I mean, it's unbelievable. He's
Yeah.
probably spending $2, $3 million each time just to change the flowers out, and they're spectacular. It really is something to see. If you're in Vegas, go see the flower room there. It's really nice.
Uh,
Something else.
the Bellagio and Wynn. Wynn has also
I
impeccable.
haven't been to the Wynn. It's been a long time since I've been to Vegas,
Oh
but,
yeah.
I used to play
Oh,
golf there. The Wynn Golf Course, it used to be, what was that? The Desert Inn
the
for the
desert.
longest time. Yeah, so he tore that little thing down and rebuilt the golf course and turned it into a mega
Yeah.
something. I mean, everything's mega in Vegas now.
But exactly. But yeah, it's beautiful. I might find it maybe on online. I'll send you some pictures of it because it's truly beautiful every time you go there. But I was surprised when I came to the desert. I had no idea that they changed the grass from summer grass to winter grass and the other one.
Well, there is that, but generally, I don't know. Bermuda grass will do fine in the summer, and it just goes dormant in the winter. But you're right. Tall fescue, which most people call marathon nowadays, because it's like Kleenex and facial tissues. Well, we have marathon. There's a lot of other tall fescues. It's all the same kind of grass. Those are considered cool season grasses. Say from September, they look best from like September to June. Then you got the warm season grasses, Bermuda grass, that looks great, especially in the high heat. They can take the high heat all day long, like all the golf courses you got out there, probably all Bermuda grass. But it
What's
does go dormant in the wintertime. That's the thing. If it gets too cold, it'll go dormant. So, yeah, there is cool season and warm season grasses, no question.
what's the name? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. What's the name of the winter grass? Not the Bermuda, the other one.
Well, it's tall fescue is the common name, but the brand name you'll hear is Marathon. Yeah, that by Southland Sod Farms. They kind of coined that. I mean, every sod company has their brand of tall fescue. Some I think there's one Medallion, there's Marathon, there's a couple other different names. They're essentially the same thing. But it's like saying, "Hey, you're not going to go say, I'm going to get a facial tissue, right? You say, I'm going to go grab a Kleenex. Well, Kleenex is a brand name. It's not the actual facial tissue. It even says Kleenex facial tissue. So you'll get Marathon, and under the bill, it says Tall Fescue,
Being so fast.
right? And
Yeah,
that's the deal with it. And it's all good. I mean, but there's no perfect solution in grass. Everything has a certain compromise, because summertime is going to suffer. It's going to get funguses and this and that. And in the wintertime, people, object to the yellowing of the grass. You can overseed it, but it's just more work. I do
mhm.
artificial turf. It's just something else that's in my quiver. If it makes sense, it has its detractions. It has its benefits, like all things. But there is, unfortunately, no perfect solution in landscaping. You're always looking at some compromise. Too much water, not enough water. It's going to drain this way, it's gonna be too hot, this or that. So you almost kinda have to look at the final product a little bit at a distance. You don't wanna look at it under a microscope or a magnifying glass because 'cause you'll do see nothing but problems, or if you think it's gonna be perfect, it's just not the way it works. Hardscape, though, is a little bit different, because once it's already in, I mean, there's not much that's gonna change the concrete or the brick or the stone that we're in. But landscaping's different, there's definitely a symbiotic relationship between all the stuff coming together, and then you just have to learn to accept it the way that it is.
It's
That's so
at the end of the day, it's a living organism, I guess you can say. It's
yes,
growing. It
true.
needs care, it needs love, it needs watering, it
That's
needs
right. It's like a
supplement.
little it's like
Exactly.
a little baby,
It's like a
right?
little baby, and I know
That's
we're all
right.
treated like a little baby as well, including
Correct.
my mom. But
Yeah.
now it's the season here in the desert where everything is yellow because
Oh, yeah.
they're changing
Just
grass.
about ready for fall. I bet you're waiting for October, November out there. No
Oh
kidding,
yeah.
everybody. But then come all the snowbirds, and then the town gets crowded.
Yeah, I
So,
mean
that's alright.
it's crowded, but it's bring some more liveliness into the desert.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everybody shows up, and your restaurants will start opening back up again. By the
Exactly.
way, I do wanna go skiing in Poland. That's one place I haven't been yet to ski. I
In
hear it's
Poland.
fantastic there.
Snow.
Snow skiing, yeah. I hear
In
it's
Poland.
fantastic.
There is definitely we have the mountains in the south.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I've as far as skiing, usually all of my family goes to Austria
Okay.
or Italy recently as well, but
Mhm.
I've been skiing in Switzerland and Austria.
Uh-huh.
Haven't been skiing in Poland, to be honest.
Oh, and you live right it's like yeah, well, it's like I'm here in California, we have Mammoth.
Yeah,
I've been to
Mammoth.
Italy, I skied Norway, I skied Switzerland, I skied Japan.
Wow,
It's all fantastic.
I
Japan
was
is
fan.
spectacular.
Uh,
It's an amazing place to go.
I hear more and more. I mean, when I was growing up, ski jumping is a huge sport in Poland because we're good
Yeah.
people recently. So I remember a big competition in Japan, and so definitely would like to go take family there.
Oh,
We're I switched over to snowboarding since my wife
uh-huh.
said we will be the snowboarding families. Our 9 month old princess will be learning snowboarding in the next probably 2 3 years. We'll see how fast I
Perfect.
can go out
9
there, but
months.
before
Gorgeous.
that, in Europe, I was still skiing, so I saw that. But Poland, I mean, there was definitely resorts, and there were some new resorts on the border with what is it, Slovakia and Czech, right there. There's some
Yeah.
new resorts that maybe that's what you heard because there you can pretty much walk from one country to another when you're on top of
Yeah.
mountains,
Sure. Well,
and
one of the places that, they see was Slovenia was one. It's in the Yugoslavian Republic, or used to be, whatever parts here, because it's extremely inexpensive, and they're just raving over the conditions, the food, and, of course, being
that's
inexpensive.
probably
It's not because skiing is an expensive sport,
it is.
but I mean, until they catch up with the rest of the world as they're still recovering from whatever they had to get over. But Slovenia, Sardinia, we were gonna take, one year, the year of the COVID lockdowns, we were set to make a trek through Slovenia and Sardinia, and I don't know the exact names of the areas, but it was all very much Eastern Europe. We're gonna do it in, vans with a couple of guides and about 12 of us, and just go
Nice.
from resort to resort. But we also like to do that AT stuff where you go back in the backcountry and earn your way up and back. So, but unfortunately, we got canceled. Everybody got canceled, and we couldn't go
Everybody,
anywhere. So
I know.
I
Yeah,
missed out on that one. So,
I know. Yeah, but
but
well,
anyway,
maybe the near future,
yeah.
we'll do that, and we still have to, well,
Even though you're a snowboarder, I forgive you.
I
No, I'm
am
only kidding.
scared hard, but snowboarding is fun. Actually, I was surprised
Oh, no.
to
If
fall.
I were to have to start all over again, I would snowboard because you can become an expert snowboarder in 1 season. You have to be an exceptional athlete to become an expert skier in 1 year. But
Yeah,
that's why snowboarding took over. I mean, you literally you can be an intermediate on a weekend and an expert by the end of the year if you do go enough. It's a much easier learning curve. But for me, being old and all the injuries I've got, I can't take the falling anymore.
oh
And
yeah,
I'll take a lot of falling to learn how to snowboard. I'm just not into it.
I
I can
know.
already ski pretty well. So
I can imagine. Yes, definitely.
yeah.
After many years.
Another reason we work so hard so we can play hard, right?
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we were last before actually right at the beginning of the pregnancy, we spent like over a week in Mammoth for the first time for us.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was beautiful out there, and before that
Yeah.
in Big Bear. So I was practicing the first 2 years snowboarding. I was practicing a lot, but with skiing. I went to school in Germany, and they took us during the school time to in the winter time to Austria back then.
Uh-oh.
So we had a pro coach who was very intense, split us into group. I was I was in the intense group. And so we were the guys not afraid to fall and practice harder than everyone else. So I learned during one trip how to go on those black slopes, but it was fun. And like I said, snowboarding is
Yeah.
fun.
No, it's great. Mammoth is cool. If the kids that go to school there, they get to ski on the mountain in the afternoon. That's their PE class every
Really?
day. Yeah, they take all the kids up there. That's their PE class. They get to ski on the mountain. Not bad.
It's not bad. Yeah, I just had
Not bad. Yeah.
a podcast with All American Dave, who was providing nutrition, I'm sorry, and, nutritional and personal training for poker players in Vegas, the top
Huh.
world championship
Oh, okay.
over there. And his nickname is All American Dave. He's a natural bodybuilder as well. And he just moved to Mammoth with his family. So
Oh.
I guess that's what's going to happen. I'm looking forward to seeing him in.
Are you guys acquainted then? You're obviously friends from somewhere else?
I met through podcasts with some other people. Turns out we have mutual friends here and there. So
See?
seems like a really nice guy and family oriented guy, and can
Good.
wait to go up there. And we'll see. Maybe we'll make it up this season and exchange. My wife will ski in the morning, snowboard in the morning, and I will snowboard in the
Ski.
afternoon.
There we
We'll see
go.
how the
Well,
dynamic.
there's that 2 degrees of separation again. You guys are all of a sudden and then we're all together.
Exactly.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, what made you come back here what made you come to the States? Did you go to school here?
No, I didn't go to school. I pretty much got an opportunity. My older brother came here first, and he brought my mom. And
Mm, okay.
through my mom, I had an opportunity to go through the naturalization process. I had to be not older than 21. So it was
Perfect.
months before I turned 21 that my brother called me and said that I have to pack if I want to get ever American citizenship, and I have to make a decision quickly on the spot, ad hoc. So I packed my stuff, took my dog, and pretty much flew in. I actually flew into Las Vegas back then.
Huh.
Drove. The tickets were cheaper, and we had direct flight.
Yeah, yeah.
Going with the dog and last minute flights. There's no direct flights during the summertime to LAX. So Vegas, it was. I was pretty much within 4 or 5 months, I received my green card. And then, yeah, the rest is history. It was always
Here
the
you are
desert
now.
for me. Uh,
Yeah.
I traveled a little bit here and there now with my wife. She's born in New York, spent most of her life in Poland, but her family's on the East Coast. That's why we came back from Florida recently. I don't know. I fell in love with the desert, and I feel I call it home. Every time we travel, I miss it. And
There we go.
I just love it here. I don't know. It's something
Oh,
spectacular.
I like it. Yeah, 9 months out of the year, it's very nice. It's the summer months that make it a little tough, but you'll find a way, and I'm very fortunate. I'm not affected by the heat, so if it gets super hot, yeah, it's hot, but it's okay. I'm used to being outside, and you better be in the business I'm in, right?
Exactly. Yes, and you can travel. We have Orange County, San Diego, LA,
Oh, yeah.
so nicer during the summertime. Plus, we a lot of friends and family members travel back to Europe during the summertime or
Yes.
that. So you will definitely do that as well. We'll be traveling during the summertime more. But honestly, when I got here, one of the first jobs I did was putting solar on the rooftops. I got adjusted to the heat pretty quick.
Yeah, right away.
It's the hottest as you can get out when you're on top
No
of the hill.
kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah, no, that's rough. That is very rough.
it was, yeah, it's easy to get dehydrated when you're not used to it, but
Yeah, ye
my body get adjusted to it pretty quickly. So now 110, it's still easy for me, easy peasy for
I
me.
I have a second cousin who is a very gifted athlete too, and he lives in Las Vegas, and he shows me when he goes on 20-mile mountain bike rides when it's 122 degrees. But
Ooh,
he's lived there his whole life.
yeah,
But to be able to do that, even to be able to out just ride your bike in 120-degree weather, you gotta be some sort. He ran a marathon, never trained. He ran it in 3 hours and 20 minutes. Just
wow,
decided he wanted to run a marathon. Some people can do it.
incredible. Yes, he sounds like the Wim Hof guy, the Iceman.
Wim Hof, and the other one, the guy's name is Journet, who runs all those ultra marathons. I don't know if you, I forget his first name, but his last name is Journet, and he's world famous. He summited Mount Everest twice in one day.
What?
He runs 100-mile races and beats people by hours and days. It's Kilian Jornet. Kilian Jornet is his name. He's from France.
I
He's an
have,
amazing athlete. I mean, some people just have that extra gear. I'd like
yeah,
to have it. That would be nice.
that would be nice, right? No,
Yeah.
run was never my forte. I had a guest on the podcast who runs through the mountains 100, I think 120
Yeah.
miles.
Ultra marathoner.
Ultra
Yeah.
marathon in Hawaii or so is one of the,
They run it all over. There are races all over the world. They all travel. There's one here in California that goes from Baker to Mount Whitney.
yeah, that's
Yeah, I think a team runs that one, but I think it's 150 miles. It's gotta be quite a while. 200 miles,
it's
2, 3 days.
yeah,
Amazing.
I was
But, I like to exercise, but that's a little bit over the top.
absolutely, yeah, I'm more of a HIIT, high intensity
Yeah,
interval
that's
training.
great stuff. Great
I like
stuff.
to get in, get done, and calisthenics. So I love body work, and I feel like this is the. I wish I discovered it earlier to learn more about your body and how all the tendons work and how you can take care of them through movement. And hopefully, this will allow me to be ache free in the future.
Well, you're still young. I don't think you'll have a problem getting over the hump. I don't think you started all that late. So, but I understand. I understand the journey in health. I had my own, and here I am. Look, I'm 68. I know I don't look my age.
You don't.
Fortunately, but I've taken care of myself over years, and so,
I
um
100%. Yes, I wouldn't give you more than 60 for sure. I was thinking 50, 50
yeah,
something. You're
depending on the day, I can pass for. My son tells me none of his friends can tell my age, and I say, "Well, that's great," until I show off my wrinkles, so to speak. They're not
that
going away, but that's okay. I still ski harder than any of them, so until they can't keep up, and when they can keep up, then I'll worry about it.
I can
So,
imagine. Yeah, I can see you on the slopes, on the
ha,
black slope out there,
ha.
uh, going crazy.
Yes,
If you
sir.
look back to you and your business journey, when you look back, what were some of the challenges that you faced that you're happy and glad that they're over?
Not worrying so much about what's gonna happen, and relying upon my ability as a businessman to be able to maintain a constant cash flow and workflow because, as a business owner, you're responsible for a lot of things. And, I mean, for everything. I have to sell enough to satisfy the business, but I have a crew of guys that depend upon me.
Mm,
And if I don't deliver, then everything falls apart, and I'm responsible for all those kinds of things. So I'm better at doing that. I don't. It's just with age, I think getting over crises and finding out you're not going to die, and it's not the end of the world. And we all have failures. I've had my fair share of failures, but with failure comes an equivalent seed of success. And anybody who's successful says they've never failed. They're either lying to you or they're sleepwalking through life or something of that nature. So failure is not the end of the world. And just being more confident with things. And now, especially when the way I look at 68. Can you imagine what I looked at when I was 25? They looked at me like, who's this teenager telling us what to do? So there was a little of that to get over. Now I don't have that problem. I have a few gray hairs, so I get a little bit more respect as far as that goes. I have to deal with that. And, just seeing how things have become more automatic. The things that I always worry about is obviously staffing, getting good people. That's very difficult. I'm not a huge contractor. I have multiple crews, but I don't have double-digit employees, thank goodness. And we get plenty done just with the guys that I've got. But that's always a challenge. And then you never know what happens. I had to buy a truck out of the clear blue the other day. The engine blew up and there was no way to fix it. And, You never know. I had to maintain insurance, I had to maintain the trucks, I have to maintain the sales, I have to maintain the crew, I gotta keep my wife happy, there's a lot to do, so
It absolutely is a lot to
but
do.
I'm alright, and I gotta tell you, when I don't have something to do, I actually kinda get a little bored because we have our slow periods, usually in the wintertime, and I'm sitting around for 2 weeks looking at the rain and nothing to do. I go, "How long can I watch television here?" So I really need to stay busy.
What's the most fulfilling for you work? Most fulfilling?
Well, I would just say having happy clients, knowing that they understand what you've done and they're happy with what you've done and they're willing to tell people that you're the guy to go to and whatnot. On top of the fact I enjoy doing it, it's art. There's a practical application of needing cash flow in your life, and so I found my niche that way. And so with unhappy clients, and they're not going to pay the bills,
That's
and it doesn't take much to say, I'm not going to send you a check. What am I going to do? Fight them and spend 4 years in court trying to find someone for their money? No, we prefer to make it a lot more congenial to everybody gets along. I'll read you my mission statement. Here, let me pull it down off the wall. It says, our mission is to deliver to our clients high quality landscape installation, finished masonry products, and detailed landscape maintenance and management in a consistent and professional manner, respecting our clients' desire for promptness and cleanliness. By the way, I clean the job. Our crews clean the job site every single day. There's nothing worse than going to work hard all day and coming home to a big mess that left by a junior high school student. I won't do it. It says to always display a genuine concern for our neighbors and to offer service to our community, which we do. And the one that's just the most important, to always maintain a clear, calm path of communication between our clients, our employees, and management. So there are no surprises. Without my men, there is no business. So we treat them like the gold that they are. We do the best we can.
and
They've
when
been
did
with me, three of them, two of them with me over 35 years and one with over
wow,
30 years. And now I've got a second generation coming in. Yeah.
incredible. So when did you come up with that core?
The mission statement, I always used to resist those kind of trendy things over the years, but I took some sales training a few years ago and he says, no, what that is not necessarily an esoteric thing. It really points to how you want to run your business. So think about it. And this was not capricious. It didn't just say, I'm going to do these things because I'm so cool and I want your money. Because a lot of mission statements kind of come across like this. This one really tells what to expect from us. And so that's what it is. I probably had this mission statement out about 15 years. And
Mm,
before that, I just didn't bother with it because I didn't see the purpose of it. But like I said, as a business owner, it's important to always be open to get that nugget here and there, something that's going to help you in the future. And if you think you know it all, you're doing yourself a disservice by not at least listening to people. My father, when he was young in the business, he says, don't discount the opinions of your clients. Number one, it's what they want. And number two, maybe they know something you don't. So
yeah,
don't just, reject it out of hand. Think about it and see if it makes sense before you ridicule it or just kind of reject it. And so if you leave that kind of an openness, and there's always, like I said, I've learned from my mentors and I mentor some younger business people that are trying to get started too. There's no reason why I shouldn't. You have to be coachable. No matter what. If you think you know it all and have done it all, you're making a mistake, I think. No matter how good you are, I don't care if you're the biggest expert in the field of whatever it is, there's always something you can improve on or learn about or get that little nugget of something that just kind of helps push the envelope a little bit better. And that's what makes us experts.
that's some great wisdom here. It's one philosophy comes to mind, or multiple actually. One is to do small incremental improvements, which is the Kaizen philosophy from Japan, and then
I
another
agree with that.
actually, this one comes also from Japan. It's almost treat every day as almost day. It's pretty much as day one, where you come in and you might learn something new, even though you've been in the years for you've been in the business for several years. And this coming from someone who's been in the business for 49 years, if I remember correctly, then that's very humbling and also very true. So that means we all should be sometimes shut up and listen because you never know when you can learn something new. Love that.
Yes, sir.
Lyle, if you had an opportunity to sit down across the table from Lyle back when you were starting out, what advice would you have for him?
Let me think. Nothing that I would admit on public television. Let's put it that way. There are always a few mistakes that I that I regretted that I could have done a little bit better. But I've always been pretty much nose to the grindstone kind of a guy. Even when I was in my party years, I never missed a day. I don't know, if I was out till 4 in the morning, I was at job at 6:30 in the morning. I never missed anything. But it didn't make it easier. I could have made it easier on myself, and maybe and been and say a little bit more calm down a little bit more. I was very when I was younger, I was a lot more aggressive in a lot of different ways, and that's normal, I think, for young men. Those 2 things, just, don't make those omissions of youth, so to speak. You think you can live forever and do whatever you want, nothing will ever happen. Well, then, that's not true anymore. And to have a little bit more of an even keel, not let my temper get in. But then again, without that kind of aggressive personality, I probably wouldn't be where I am today.
Mm.
That really pushed me to go through. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Good advice. And my final question for you today: what are you most excited about in the near future?
Meeting Jesus Christ.
That's deep.
That's what I'm excited about. Yeah.
Okay, wasn't expecting that answer, but I take it. It's one day we're all gonna hopefully we're going to meet him and be in a happy place that
Okay.
that will last.
Yeah, well, no, that's it. Eternal life is the most important thing you have to work towards.
Mhm.
We're only here a very short period of time, maybe 100 years. That is not even a drop in the bucket in the amount of time that has been around. And forever is a very, very long time. So, I'm doing
Memento,
all I can to
memento,
pave the pathway for me. And anybody who knows me, I'm more than happy to talk about it. I don't get on a soapbox, but I'm very happy to talk about it anytime you'd like. Or anybody. We're good to go.
love it. Memento mori. Remember the death. Remember that our time is numbered, and you don't know the minute or the hour, nor the
That's right. We do not. We do not know the moment or the hour. So you better be on the straight and narrow. Yeah. Well, we live in some very turbulent times. There's a lot of insanity going on. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. I know why. We won't talk about that now because it's really not part of your podcast. But those are the things I look for. And then, of course, having comfortable retirement would be nice. That my wife stays healthy, and that my son and my 2 sons become financially stable and independent of dad, and we're almost there. The things that kind of go along and then whatever comes with that. But to be happy and healthy and not die with tubes hanging out of my nose because I'm sick with something for the last 10 years of my life. Those are the things I work for. That's why I try to live a healthier lifestyle, eat properly, do the things I need to do, get the right sleep, blah, 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 and push back as hard as I can on the aging process whenever I can. You can't stop it, but you can certainly slow it down.
Some people online claim they can't stop it, but I don't know if we can trust them yet.
There's so much nonsense out there. It's hard to separate. We call it. It's hard to separate the fly shit from the pepper in life.
How long have you been married for?
33, see, 92, 33 years now. We were dated for 3 or 4 years, and it took 2 years to get my first date with her. So
Wow.
she
So
was
it's
tough. Yeah, so I'm gonna try one more time. If she says no, it's over. And so here I am, 36 years later. Yeah,
yes,
thank you.
I can imagine time flies.
It certainly does. It doesn't seem like it's been that long because you think back all the things that we've done. It doesn't seem like it's yesterday, but it was 25 years ago. This happened. 20 years ago, that happened. So, but it's all relative. Seems like it just happened yesterday.
Time flies. Yeah, Pantare.
And I got
Everybody.
grandchildren coming. I got one and one on the way. So, the next
Wow.
generation's coming. And all my son's friends and the kids I coached, they're all starting families. They used to be little kids. Now they get deep voices and beards and kids and mortgages. And, that's just how it goes.
The
It's their
side.
turn. It's your
the-
turn. How old are you?
I'm 31 next month.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd settle for 51. That was a good year.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. That's a good time of life. 31. Everything's great. 31's a good time.
we just my little one just saw her great grandparents and
Hmm.
grandmas walk. So it was interesting to see 4 generations in on one
Yeah.
in one under one roof. It was a great experience, and not many people can do the same. I don't know if she will remember, but obviously we'll make it. We'll repeat that experience for her, so she
I
remembers.
imagine we will. Absolutely. Well, it's
Absolutely.
been a lot of fun talking to you.
Likewise, Lai. Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate the opportunity to promote what I do and tell everybody Landscape Lies by Landscape Lyle. Look it up. You'll like it.
We
Push
will.
the
We'll get
button, hit the subscribe. What is that? Subscribe and
everything.
whatever it is they want us to do. That's right. Subscribe and Yeah.
I
Register for the
think that
comments, and don't forget, send me money, lots of money.
exactly. Send him the checks. I think the most important was to share it with people, friends that you think deserve a better landscaping and
Yes,
they live
sir.
in Los Angeles area.
That's right.
They'll be definitely happy and satisfied with the
That's
result.
right.
Why, thank you so much. I wish all the love and happiness for you and your wife, successful journey for your kids and healthy grandkids as well. Thank you so much for your time. I look
Oh,
forward to seeing your work and art online as well, maybe in person one day when you
sure.
come to your areas. And yeah, I'll reach out soon and look forward to catching up.
Why, thank you. I hope to speak with you again soon. Take care, man. It's been a lot of fun.